He built an empire with his voice, then lost his daughters forever, and then whispers kindness. Something miraculous happens. A whisper, a smile, a second chance at life. The highway stretched out like a ribbon of regret, endless and gray. Nathan Carlyle gripped the steering wheel of his black Range Rover, as if it could keep the pieces of his life from unraveling any further. In the back seat, nestled in a soft blanket and buckled into a specially fitted seat, sat his 8-year-old daughter, Ava. She hadn't spoken in over a year. Since the accident, the world knew Nathan as the tech billionaire who built the voice recognition empire Lyra Systems. But behind the headlines, Nathan was a broken father with a mute child and a mansion filled with too much silence. He had left it all behind: Silicon Valley, boardrooms, investors trading conference calls for the hum of tires and the whisper of wind. Maybe, just maybe, if he kept driving, he could outrun the guilt. Their journey had no map, just a direction, south. He didn't care where it ended, only that it never stopped hurting. He pulled off into a small town he didn't bother to learn. The name of the dusty gas station, a closed antique shop. A glowing open sign flickered weakly above a diner that looked like it hadn't changed since the 50s. "Ava," he said gently, unbuckling her. No response. Her eyes stared out, distant, unblinking. He picked her up in his arms, the way he always did now, and carried her inside. The diner bell jingled as they entered. A few heads turned, then went back to their coffee and hash browns. The waitress at the counter looked up and froze. Her eyes weren't on him. They were locked on Ava. The waitress tucked her order pad into her apron and walked around the counter. She looked to be in her late 20s with tired eyes and a gentle face framed by dark curls tied back in a messy bun. Her name tag read Lily. Nathan lowered Ava into the booth carefully, positioning her against the window so she could at least see the sunlight. The little girl didn't flinch or blink. She just stared, hollow and silent. Lily approached, but not with the false cheer waitstaff sometimes put on for wealthy-looking customers. She walked like someone approaching a wounded animal, slow, respectful, kind. Nathan had already prepared his brush-off speech. He was used to the looks, the pity, the questions. But Lily didn't look at him at all. She knelt right next to Ava's side of the booth. "Hi there, sweetheart," she whispered, not pushing, not even expecting a reply. Nathan opened his mouth to say something, but then paused. Ava's fingers twitched, only slightly. But he saw it. Lily smiled softly. "My name's Lily. I bring the best pancakes this side of the Mississippi. What do you say? Would you help me pick a topping?" Ava didn't move, but her lips parted just a sliver. Nathan blinked. She hadn't done that in months. Lily didn't rush her. She just waited there, kneeling like she had all the time in the world. "I'm guessing ... blueberries?" Lily offered, her voice a song, her smile calm. Ava blinked once, slowly. Nathan leaned forward, breath caught. It wasn't a miracle, it wasn't recovery, but it was something. And for the first time in over a year, he felt a strange emotion stirring in his chest. Hope. Nathan sat frozen in the booth, his coffee untouched. Across from him, Ava sat still as a statue, her hands folded in her lap, her eyes fixed on nothing. She didn't react when the waitress returned with a plate of pancakes shaped like smiley faces. Syrup sparkled under the diner's flickering fluorescent lights, but Ava didn't move. "Her name's Ava, right?" the waitress asked softly. Nathan looked up, startled. "Yes, how did you?" "You said it when you carried her in," she said, setting the plate down carefully. "Beautiful name." She wasn't like the other servers Nathan had met on their road trip. Most either gave a pitying glance or ignored her entirely. But this woman, Sadie, according to the tiny silver pin on her apron, seemed to see his daughter differently, not as a tragedy, but as a person. Sadie didn't wait for permission. She slid into the booth beside Ava, close but not invasive. She didn't speak at first, just sat with her quietly. Her eyes scanned Ava's face, searching gently. Then, slowly, she reached over and picked up a fork. "You mind if I show her something?" she asked Nathan. He hesitated. He wasn't used to anyone asking to engage with his daughter. People usually recoiled, overwhelmed by the emotional weight of her silence. But there was something about Sadie's presence, steady, grounded, familiar even. Go ahead, he said cautiously. Sadie took the fork and sliced a corner of the pancake. It fell away in a neat triangle. When I was little, she began, her voice low and melodic, my mama used to make these for me every Saturday. Said the little smiley face would make the day better. She speared the piece of pancake and brought it slowly to Ava's mouth. Nathan expected his daughter to look away, maybe turn her head. That's what she usually did when strangers got too close. But this time miraculously she didn't. Ava's lips parted just slightly. Sadie paused, waiting. And then, with delicate grace, Ava took the bite. Nathan's heart lurched. His fingers gripped the edge of the table. He hadn't seen her accept food from anyone but him in over 10 months. Sadie smiled, calm and warm, and offered another piece. Ava chewed slowly, then opened her mouth again. Nathan was speechless. A lump crawled up his throat as if he might cry, and he hated that. He wasn't supposed to, not in public. Not in front of strangers, she hasn't. He started to say, then stopped. She hasn't done that in a long time. Sadie glanced at him, her smile never faltering. Maybe she just needed someone who didn't expect her to be broken. Her words hit him harder than he expected. You're good with kids, he said after a pause. I used to be a teacher, Sadie replied, gently brushing a strand of hair behind Ava's ear. Special ed, before. She stopped herself and looked away for a moment. Before life happened. Nathan leaned forward. Why are you here in this town? She chuckled, not bitterly, but as someone who had accepted the jagged turns life could take. Let's just say my world flipped upside down a few years ago. I came back to take care of my dad after his stroke. This diner gave me a job when I didn't know how to start over. Ava took another bite. This time, her hand moved toward the fork, slow and uncertain. Sadie didn't stop her. She's trying, Sadie whispered. You see it? Nathan nodded, too choked up to speak. Ava's tiny fingers curled awkwardly around the fork. She dropped it once. Sadie picked it up without comment and handed it back. This time, Ava managed to poke the pancake herself. Nathan could barely breathe. Would you? He started, then hesitated again. Would you sit with her for a while? I just need a second. Sadie nodded gently. Take your time. We're not in a rush. Nathan stepped outside the diner and into the morning air that smelled like rain and old pavement. He leaned against his car and stared up at the overcast sky. Somewhere behind those clouds, the sun was still shining. It had to be. He ran a hand through his hair and took a long breath. He didn't know who this woman was or what magic she'd just worked, but in a single meal, she had done what specialists and therapists and the best doctor's money could buy. Had failed to do. Ava had eaten with someone else. And for the first time since the crash, Nathan felt something crack open inside him, something small and uncertain, but alive. Hope. Nathan watched, frozen in place. His fork hung mid-air, untouched. Across the booth, Ava, his silent, unreachable daughter, was smiling. Her lips, long drawn and still, curled ever so slightly as the waitress, Lucy, gently dabbed the corner of Ava's mouth with a napkin. Ava's eyes tracked her, soft and alert, no vacant stare, no drifting off. She was present. She was there. Lucy spoke to her gently, like a lullaby wrapped in sunlight. You like that, sweet pea? Pancakes always fix everything, don't they? Ava blinked, slowly, deliberately. Nathan's throat tightened. In all the months since the accident, Ava had never responded to anyone, not therapists, not doctors, not even him, but now she was responding. He stood abruptly, heart pounding, and took a step toward them. What did you say to her? He asked, more desperate than accusing. Lucy looked up, startled, then softened. Nothing special, she said. Just treated her like she's still in there. Because she is. Nathan's lips parted, but words didn't come. He watched as Lucy gently picked up another small piece of pancake and held it out. Ava opened her mouth to take it. I don't understand, he whispered. You don't have to, Lucy said with a shrug. Sometimes love finds cracks where science can't. He sat back down slowly, his eyes never leaving his daughter. And for the first time in what felt like eternity, something inside Nathan cracked open, something raw and aching, hope. The diner, the road, this small forgotten town, it wasn't part of the plan. But maybe that was the point. Maybe healing didn't follow logic. Maybe it wore a waitress apron, served warm syrup, and kneeled at a child's eye level. Asterisk, and maybe, just maybe it was beginning. Asterisk, the rest of the diner faded into a soft blur, clinking cups, sizzling grills, murmured conversations. Nathan sat still, afraid to move, like even a breath might break the moment forming between Lucy and Ava. Asterisk, Lucy was humming now an old lullaby, something about stars and dreams. She didn't force a word out of Ava. She didn't push. She just stayed, present, patient, gentle. Asterisk and Ava. She leaned in. Then it happened. A sound. So faint, Nathan almost thought he imagined it. Asterisk, double quotes. Lou. Sigh. Asterisk. The name was whispered like a breeze, fragile, broken, but it was a voice. Ava's voice. Asterisk. Nathan's eyes widened. His fork clattered onto his plate. Lucy's eyes welled up instantly. Asterisk. What did you say, sweetheart? She asked softly, kneeling again. Asterisk. Ava looked at her, really looked at her, then turned her head slightly toward Nathan. Dead dy, she whispered. Asterisk. He couldn't breathe. Emotion slammed into his chest like a tidal wave. He dropped to his knees beside them. I'm here, baby. I'm here, he choked out, pulling her into his arms. I never left. Asterisk. Lucy smiled through tears. She didn't interrupt. She didn't need to. Asterisk. That single moment, 2 whispered words, undid what months of elite therapy, private hospitals, and specialists had failed to touch. Ava wasn't lost. She'd just been waiting for someone who could reach her. Asterisk. Later that night, Nathan returned to the diner alone. He found Lucy wiping down tables. I want to offer you a job, he said. She raised a brow. Doing what? Asterisk. Changing lives, he said. Starting with mine and my daughter's. Asterisk. She smiled, half joking. You trying to buy me, Mr. Billionaire? Asterisk. No, he said quietly. I'm asking you to help me believe again. She paused, then nodded slowly, and just like that, everything began again, not with code or algorithms, but with kindness. Asterisk. And pancakes.